In the fall of 2013, Gary Temple Bodley began channeling a group of non-physical teachers known as Joshua. Soon thereafter, Joshua asked Gary to start writing. They have since produced 4 books and answered hundreds of questions in written form. In the spring of 2016, on the Law of Attraction cruise, Gary underwent hypnosis and Joshua spoke through him for the first time. Since that time, Gary has been practicing channeling Joshua verbally in live weekly calls with one-on-one students. These Joshua calls are now available to those of you joining us on the leading edge of thought. This is the expansion of the Law of Attraction. This is Joshua Live. We're thrilled you're here.
We are thrilled to be here.
Welcome back.
We feel like we sound very important and big today.
Yeah.
Every day.
You are.
It's excellent because we are important and big. We're very important. We're the most important part of the universe. There's
Me
nothing
too.
more important.
Yeah.
Oh, and except for you. That's true.
Yes.
Except for all of you and all of those who exist. We're all at the exact same level. There is no higher level. There is no one who's doing better than anyone else. Everyone is on their path towards that which they truly are, which is their authentic selves, which is a limitless being of pure, positive love and acceptance. And whether you think you're doing good or you think you're doing bad compared to anyone else, that's all an illusion. All you have to do is look at your past and see if you've come anywhere. And of course, you always have, because you're always expanding. No matter whether you're talking to us, no matter whether you're reading a romance novel, no matter whether you're in a relationship or not, no matter whether you have a family or not, you're always expanding, and there is no level of expansion that's any better than anything else. So in essence, this conversation with us, while it is expansive, it is no better than anything else. The only thing it's worthwhile for is if you are having fun, if you are engaged, if you are interested, if you enjoy understanding the power of the universe and how physical reality really works, if you like to engage universal forces more than you like resisting them, then we have something to share, because all we're doing is sharing our perspective, but really you can get along fine without us. How about that? Now, who would like a refund?
Yeah.
So, isn't it interesting to know that there is no wrong, so you can't get anything wrong, so you can't fail, so you can't be attached to any outcome, because no matter what you're doing, you're always expanding. And that's the only reason you came here. And whether you expand by becoming the richest person in the world, or you expand through the experience of being homeless, it's all equal. You're expanding either way. So then tell us, what is it that you want? What do you want from this interaction with us? Who would like to start?
I'll go. I'd like some clarity. I had a crappy night last night. It started off, I took some photos of my son and daughter-in-law's condo to put on the MLS to sell it. The camera was on the wrong setting. I didn't know that. There's a setting on the lens, and they all came out super not focused.
Oh, unfocused. Okay. So let us think about that idea of unfocused.
I know there's got to be a reason.
What do you think the reason is?
I was not focused when I was taking the pictures.
Why weren't you focused?
Because her mom and her were there, and they were just going on and on about how hard they cleaned and how it was so much work, blah, blah, blah. And I felt like I was putting them out by making them clean up the condo.
So when you say you're unfocused, what you really were was out of alignment.
Very much, yeah. And I tried really hard to pre-pave and everything.
Yes, but you are only one part of this broader scheme here. You are the cog in the wheel, but you are not the wheel or the spokes or the car.
Really?
Right? You are just part of the process of the sale of this unit from the sellers to the buyers. Okay. And if the sellers have a resistance going on, then there's really nothing you can do. It's going to manifest in some way that something is going to delay it. And their fear of selling their place or finding a new place or the process of it or the cost of it or the change of their life or the fear about what's going to happen next is going to disrupt things, and there's nothing really you can do about it. All you can do is be aligned with the thought that everything's working out for a reason. If all of my photos are unfocused, then this is the perfect manifestation, and it couldn't have happened any better.
Okay, so that was that's what I was trying to think when I realized this last night. But then I went into this whole, I guess I didn't separate from it because I went into this whole mode of, oh shit, now I got to tell him again. Katie's going to be disappointed. She's going to be upset. And I worked myself into a tizzy like I haven't done in a long time. And then I got mad at myself for going into a tizzy and falling way back down the shithole.
Oh, so there's levels. You were better before than you are now. Isn't it funny how we start off saying that there is no levels? Imagine that.
Well, I was more aware of my alignment, I should say.
Right. So, and however, you went back to blaming yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And why do I do that?
It had nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So imagine now that instead of you being the photographer, you had hired a photographer.
Yeah.
And the photographer came in and then wasn't attached to any of the outcome. All the photographer cared about was taking pictures of this house, this condo. Mm-hmm. You are attached to, am I a good job? Am I going to make these pictures look nice? It's all up to me to do the listing properly, and the pictures are part of that listing. And I'm going to be judged on how the listing looks. As soon as I have it entered in the MLS, I'm going to have to send it to them. And then they're going to judge me for how I've done this listing. And they're like, well, she should have done this and this and this and blah, 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 blah. And that's going to reflect on you. And then your self-worth is once again brought back to this thing that you're doing as if it means anything about you.
Exactly.
Right. So why not make it easier on yourself by letting someone else take pictures?
Well, they're budget conscious and they don't want to pay for pictures.
You pay for the pictures.
I'm not making any money. This is actually going to cost me money.
So you are attached to the money again, or are you attached to your value again?
Yeah, I see.
So take that money part out of it, and who cares about the money, right? All you want to do is show your love by allowing this process to unfold as it will, reducing fear all the way around, which includes reducing fear from you as well. Okay. Now, it's interesting to see that you are taking no money for this, which is fine, but yet your worth is still tied into it.
Right.
Right. And you're still tied into an income, even though the money's not even a part of the project.
Right.
Now, what would a more empowering story be?
I don't know. I tried to find that empowering story last night.
I am a being of love. I am an expert in real estate. I am the closest person that they know in real estate, and I'm doing this for free. They are going to save a certain percentage of the value of this house as a direct response to me donating my expertise and time to this cause. They must be thrilled to have me in their life so that they can do this. They must be so happy that they have someone with me. However, I understand that this is a subject of fear that is going to come up for them. And I can see it from a higher perspective, how everything's going to work out, that this is part of the process and there's going to be resistance. And I'm going to expect some resistance to occur because they are not completely aligned with the idea of selling the condo and moving somewhere else. Mm-hmm. They have fear there. The fear is blocking this process from happening. It's not my fear, it's their fear. And if something happens, we know that it's due to their fear. And when the fear pops up, I can reassure them and I can ease their fears and allow the process to move one step forward. They are so lucky to have me. I am a gift from the universe to them. Nobody else on earth can do what I'm doing for them. Isn't it amazing how they manifested me into this situation? And so you look at it from that perspective, then you can do no wrong. It's not possible for you to do wrong because any hiccup in the process is due to their fear or the buyer's fear, right? Or someone else's fear in there. You are without fear because you understand that they manifested you. You are the perfect solution for this transaction, that nobody else could do what you do, right? No one else is going to do it for free. No one else knows them as well as you do. No one else can ease the fears the way you can. No one else knows more about how physical reality works than you do. No one knows more about the power of the universe than you do. No one knows that what alignment is and how they will receive thoughts and urges based on whether they are above or below the emotional line, neutral line. So from there, you can say, everything's going to work out as it is. It has nothing to do with me. It's all them. I'm just going to be a being of love and acceptance and accept what happens.
Okay.
Now, does that feel a little bit better than what you were saying to yourself before?
Yes, it feels a lot better. And my concern, I guess, is I immediately went back to where I was. I feel like I just immediately lost so much ground when I was feeling really good otherwise.
Right, because you weren't practicing it. Now you're thrust into the real world, and you have to practice what you've learned.
Oh.
It's all good to sit home, not practicing it and being aligned. But now when reality strikes, here you are learning to navigate the illusion of reality. Right. So here you are thrust into the situation that's going to bring up your feelings of worthiness. You have a manifestation event that makes you feel unworthy, even though you couldn't be more worthy. So the intention you were setting was for maybe for goals to be achieved instead of for, I feel worthy. I am a worthy being. I am the gift from the universe for them. I am the grease that's going to get this transaction closed where otherwise it could not close. So all those things, that's what's really pre-paving it.
Oh, okay.
Your feelings of worthiness. Yeah. And so a feeling of unworthiness is going to make you feel unworthy. And so when a hiccup happens and the photos don't turn out well, then you're going to assume that you're not a good photographer. Well, who cares if you're a good photographer? You're not a photographer. You're a real estate broker, not a photographer.
Right.
Let them take the pictures if they want to. Let them pay for the photographer. Let them allow you to come back and do it again. Yep, sort of thing. Yeah. So it all has to
so the pre-paving of intentions of my worthiness and
the reason you didn't enjoy real estate before was it was attached to your feelings of worthiness.
Right.
You received reflections of how you felt all the time.
Yes, I did.
No. And that's not a good feeling. If you don't feel unworthy and you get reflections of unworthiness, you're just going to feel bad all the time. If you start reminding yourself that anyone who attracts you is attracting a being of love who is in alignment with who they are, who understands the law of attraction, who knows that you've been attracted because you're a vibrational match, who understands that fear is going to pop up, whether they're the buyer or the seller, there's going to be fear, and those will cause hiccups, and you can smooth out those speed bumps because you see what's happening from a broader sense. Then you can say, honestly and factually, that I am the most worthy person who they could have ever attracted to do this specific transaction. Nobody else could do it. No other human being on earth could do what you do. And when you state things like that, well, you're stating them from your highest sense of who you really are.
Right.
And from there, you receive thoughts of ease and calm when things like this happen, and it's no big deal. Now, imagine the top broker that you know.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a he or a she?
We'll say it's a he.
Okay.
We'll go with a he.
Now, let's say the same thing happened to him.
Yeah.
First of all, would he take his own pictures?
No.
Okay. So let's say he hired a photographer and the photographer came back and said, sorry, something happened. My camera was out of focus and all the pictures are no good. I have to go back again. Mm-hmm. Would he go back to the people and feel bad?
No.
Not at all. He'd say, sorry, sometimes things happen and we need to take pictures over again. I understand you spent the day cleaning, but things like this happen. Is he okay to come out Wednesday or Thursday? Mm-hmm. Right? It wouldn't even affect him at all. He wouldn't even notice it.
Right.
because he believes that he is by far the most perfect person to handle this transaction, and that the people that hired him to sell the house are the luckiest people on earth to get him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You frame everything that way as pure confidence, because that's exactly what happened. The only way you could be a vibrational match to anyone who's buying or selling a house is that you happen to be the perfect person on earth to help them. And no one can be better.
Right.
And if something happens because of someone's fear, well, that's their fear. Because you are entering this fearless, because you understand your worthiness, because you know that you've been attracted, because you are a perfect vibrational match to whatever the situation is. Now, you are also detached from the outcome. And that might be a little bit harder in this sense, right?
Right.
Because what happens if this property doesn't sell?
They have to carry it till it sells.
Or they'll have to find another realtor.
Yeah.
And that's going to even bring up more feelings of unworthiness. But you have to understand that you are in the perfect place, the perfect person to handle this, whatever happens, and whatever happens for you and for them as well. So now you have no attachment to what happens. You have full understanding that you are worthy. You have full understanding that the law of attraction brought you together so that you can expand, right? And if it turns out that this is a smooth transaction, then that's good. And if it turns out that there are lessons to be learned when things don't go what you think is your way, you will frame it as if it was the best possible thing that could happen, because that's the only thing that can happen.
Okay.
How about that?
That's all very good stuff. Thank you. I needed that. And that makes a lot of sense. And worthiness.
It makes a lot of sense to you, but we would say that the average person would have a very difficult time with that, because the average person is so attached to the outcome. And if the outcome isn't exactly what they have pictured in their mind, they're going to freak out.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've done really good with like other clients and stuff too, as far as the money, the final outcome. I've just really been flowing along in that part. And then this kind of happened, and I don't know. Because
it's family. And you're much more attached to, because, they're going to talk about you to the other people in the family, and how you're perceived by the family is much different than how you're perceived by the general public or by people you don't know. And that's why the fear is stronger.
Right.
Yep. So when you call them back, what will you say?
Well, I already talked to her and just told her I apologize. The camera was set on the wrong setting and the pictures came out blurry and I need to retake them. Can we do it tomorrow or Wednesday? And we're doing it tomorrow.
Perfect. Yep. Perfect. And now do they think less of you or more of you?
I have no idea.
Who cares?
Who cares? I'll make up my own story.
Exactly right. Because it means nothing. Right.
That's right.
Only to you.
Yep.
What a wonderful way to start this conversation.
Practice. That's what I'm going to do.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
You mentioned the word expansion a couple of times. You started off saying, we're here for expansion, and then you mentioned it with Wendy. So what is the expansion here for her? Is it her acknowledging her self-worth, learning to prepave that self-worth? Is it something else in terms of expansion? Is it many things? I'm just
curious.
Let's
start at the beginning. Wendy entered a one-on-one conversation with us. This conversation over the last several months has altered her perspective. In altering her perspective, she has changed the quality of her limiting beliefs and her beneficial beliefs so that overall she feels much better and is in a higher emotional state of being in general. She understands more about how the universe works, how the physical reality works, and all that, theoretically. So now she's off to find things. She's off to pet horses, and she's off to practice in real estate, and things are going smoothly at family occasions, and she's expanding in every step of the way. And now she goes to the next step. The next step is a higher vibration, and she comes up against a manifestation event. So she's been expanding every step of the way from the time she first contacted us to the first question she's asked to the podcast to being on the round table to all these are all steps that she had not written down in her goals of 2016, 2017. Those were nowhere on her list. Now she's gotten to the next level. And at this level, she's a higher vibration. So she resonates with doing something of service with the family. Now, this is a risky proposition because if she screws it up, her self-worth that she's been working on this entire time, that she's expanded to this level now, can be felt as if it's a setback, right? But to get to another level, she has to move through this level. So she goes, takes this listing, decides not to charge anything for it, and is still wrapping her sense of self-worth in this transaction, where she's able to have gotten away from that in the other transactions. But because this is family and these people are closer to her, and there's a lot of judgment there in the first place, that she is in this new level, this expanded level of working with this idea of worthiness. Okay? So if you would have asked Wendy 18 months ago how she would have felt working with people compared to how she feels working with the random customer that comes in, never random, of course, but the average customer that she's not attached to comes in, she feels much worthier. Now she's gotten to this next step, and this next step is challenging new or more ingrained limiting beliefs. And as she goes through this manifestation event, she can look back on it and she can say, all right, went wrong here. What was the fear? And she can analyze it. And then so bring it to this forum. She has now seen how things really work and where she was and what she was thinking. And now she can reframe it in a new story, go back in there, let things flow smoothly, understand that the next time that some weird situation pops up, she will know that it's not her. It's just this fear that's popped up that's caused this dissonance in vibration that made something strange happen that challenges her self-worth. And now she can go back and quickly tell herself an empowering story. And then she'll be on to the next step, right? And the next step may be handling a $10 million listing, for instance, where that will challenge her worthiness again, that sort of thing. And it's always these steps, but this is where you want to go. And the better you feel about yourself, the more momentum that is created from that, the more expansive experiences of life that you want come to you. Or you could sit home and just escape from it all. But that's not what you came here for. You came for this expansiveness of these new experiences. And even though they challenge you every single step of the way, as you learn to reframe how you perceive them to be, you move to the next level. Because in reframing how you would once had thought something negative to be, as you are able to see it from a new perspective, you alter your set of beliefs so that you reduce the intensity of limiting beliefs, you enhance the beneficial beliefs. Now you have a new vibration, and now you emit something more. Now you receive something more, something you thought you wanted or that you truly wanted will come to you. And then you'll be challenged again with another set of circumstances or another manifestation event. And the better you get at analyzing each and every one of these things, right? If you have a meltdown, you know for a fact that you have come across a very strong fear, and that very strong fear is completely false, and you're looking at it from this perspective that's not empowering. So as you change your habit of reaction to a habit of analyzation, you move forward and forward and forward and expand at greater degrees. Now, rapid expansion is overwhelming. So sometimes it's good to put on the brakes and just chill out through resistance. So there's nothing wrong with resistance either. You expand at the rate to which you're comfortable expanding.
Why would it be overwhelming, and is it common?
Well, it's overwhelming because you face deeper and deeper limiting beliefs. And imagine going from one manifestation event to another, challenging more and more and more of these limiting beliefs. Life will be moving very quickly for you, but are you able to keep up with it? And This could be one manifestation event, major manifestation event. A month might be overwhelming. One a week might be overwhelming. One a day might be overwhelming. 5 a day might be overwhelming. It depends on
the person.
You. Yes. Right. Right.
That's interesting when you were saying that too. And thank you, Kate, for bringing those points up, because it brought up big aha for me, is that I obviously use the migraines as an escape. It's like I get a headache and then it's like, okay, well, I can't possibly do anything because I've got a headache. So poor me, versus that's not empowering at all. Where if I can turn it around to an empowering story, I can move forward.
The migraine is your excuse not to do something.
Yeah.
Because how could you possibly be expected to do anything with a migraine?
Exactly.
Right? And if you don't have to do anything, then you don't have to face any fears.
Right.
Right. But the fear brings up this negative emotion, and you feel it strongly, and you feel like, if I'm going to face this terrible negative emotion, I might as well just have a migraine.
Right.
Right. One feels bad, the other one feels bad. Mm-hmm. But you have control over your perspective. And once you choose a perspective that empowers you, the higher perspective, the true perspective, you will feel relief, and that negative emotion will fade. And you might have to sleep on it, and you might feel better the next morning. Mm-hmm. But the better you can get at it, right, the less need you will have for migraines.
Yeah.
Yep. And you can be like, I can face anything. Nothing is too challenging for me. I understand that I have some fears and insecurities in these areas. I understand that I have, like all people have, these feelings or questions of my own worthiness. That is part of who I am. I know that in order to get what I want out of this life, that I'm going to expand. And in that expansion, I'm going to face contrast. But that contrast is really my perception of an event. And if I perceive an event as negative, such as these photos not working out, right? Mm-hmm. I can choose my perspective. I can choose to see that, no, it's me. I'm a bad person. No wonder they didn't work out because I suck. Or I can choose to see that I'm part of this transaction and that there's fear involved from all sides, from the seller's side, the potential buyer's side, and my side. And in doing so, to get all of our vibrations in line, some manifestation events are going to have to happen. Mm-hmm. And for me to inspire confidence and love in the sellers so that they will feel comfortable selling at the right time, at the right price, I am going to have to get over my feelings of unworthiness and show confidence. And if I can show confidence in a situation like this, it will inspire them to have confidence in me. And when the time comes and they ask me my advice, shall I take this offer? Shall I ask for more? What should I do? They will listen to what I have to say, because I have inspired confidence. And it's because of this manifestation event right here that has allowed me to raise my vibration high enough to inspire confidence in them, to ease their fears, to allow this whole transaction to occur. Doesn't that make sense from a higher perspective? Isn't that what's going on in every transaction, everywhere, all the time? Mm-hmm. Everything is working out for you every time. So for you to say that it was wrong, that I wish that these pictures had come out, you're missing the big picture here, right? Mm-hmm. Because you wouldn't have been forced to confront your own feelings of unworthiness, and therefore, right, you wouldn't have had that next step, that next realization that you are worthy, that you are the perfect person for them in this position, and no one could do it better than you. And that's how you are all the time in every situation.
Wow. Okay, that is awesome.
The universe doesn't make mistakes. Nothing's random. It doesn't choose you because someone else was on vacation. Right?
Right.
It chose you because you were the perfect person for that situation.
Okay, interesting. Okay, there's a little step then also with that. We were talking price, and the price I suggested, they want to list much higher than that. And so I worked with that and I said, okay, well, let's just do that. Let's see what happens. And that must have started the spiral. Yeah.
Sure, because you're attached
I didn't feel confident. Yeah.
You're attached to your feelings that you think that you know what the market is, right? Right. Now, you will find out pretty soon.
Right.
Because if it is an overpriced property, then there will not be a flock of people to see it.
Right.
But imagine now that you held firmly to your idea of what the price was. Now imagine that there are several buyers who are interested in the property and they all want to buy it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to hold steady to your ground in the face of overwhelming evidence that you were wrong, that your price was too low, right? Mm-hmm. But if you allow them to say that they think it's worth more, then you can put the price on at whatever they think it is, and then evidence will show that they were either correct or incorrect, but it had nothing to do with you, right? That if they're correct, bully for them because you've allowed them. You put up no resistance. You let them go with the price they wanted. And if they're correct, then perfect. And if you're correct, well, then they're just going to have to reduce the price over time.
Right.
And it will sell for whatever it's worth at the time.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So you can take yourself out. Here's my suggestion. Here are the comps. Here's what else is for sale in the market. And you're competing with this house, this house, this house, and this house.
Right.
These houses are priced less than yours. Do you think the buyer is going to skip by all these houses, not know about these houses or these condos and go and buy your condo because it's better? Well, maybe they will. Let's find out. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. That's basically how I handled it, but obviously I didn't take it in. I didn't.
Gary used to be
confidence.
Completely attached to his idea of value because he considers himself an expert. Right. And if someone thought that the house was worth more, he would argue with them and make them wrong. How dare you think that the house is worth a different price than what I think it's worth? I'm the expert here. You don't know anything. The only thing you know is whatever some people have told you. I know the facts.
Right. But
the same thing would happen to him, right? If it was priced too low and 10 people came to make offers, then he looks like an idiot.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Nope. Because really, even though you think it's rational, it's all vibrational. And you can see evidence of that in the market all the time if you look for it. Yep.
Wow. Just wow. I am so glad I found you.
And when you say it's all vibrational, you mean that the person who has the strongest desire is going to be attracting the price they want, or?
Exactly. Who's ever more vibrationally aligned with their desire is going to find whatever makes sense based on the vibration they're emitting. And in real estate, this is very obvious because real estate, no two properties is the same. So the value is based on the size of the house, the utility of the house, and the location of the house, right? And condition and things like that. Things that seem to make rational sense. Yet people will buy things at prices that seem irrational for irrational reasons. But it's not irrational. It's just that they are a vibrational match to this unique property. You can see it with people. People will mate up with people who seem completely opposite of them. And there is a vibrational thing going on, a rational thing going on there. Yep. So it's all vibrational. And imagine being someone who loves the property and thinks it's the best property in the world. And so they place a very high price on that property. Yet they're the only ones who think that it's worthwhile at that, right? Now, at the moment they list it, thinking it's worth all this money, they are completely aligned with their idea that the property is worth a lot of money. No one comes to see it. No one comes to see it. All the other sales are lower. Then they change their vibration. Now, doubt, and now they're ready for a lower price.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome.
And as doubt creeps in, then they don't hold that vibration to what they were wanting. Yeah. Even though it may have been possible that someone would want it the same way they did if the timing was right. But nobody wants to wait that long. Nobody wants to wait until the alignment happens. And it happened.
So does that kind of go across the board? I mean, could that even tie into like what Kate does with her investments and stuff? If the people she's talking to are aligned with that, it comes together versus, I mean, gosh, I would just like, if we could just grab onto that, how easy would life be?
As the individual, all you have to do is realize that you are the perfect person for the situation at hand.
Mm.
And if you knew that you didn't have to do anything, that it wasn't contingent upon what you did, it was contingent upon what you allowed, what you understood about yourself, how worthy you felt about yourself. If you understood that you were a cog in this scheme of things, that you were placed in this position by the universe, right? And that all you are there to do is facilitate whatever the other parties really want or need. You are the grease that gets the wheel going. When we had talked about Michael being a lawyer, it wasn't up to him to win the case. It was up to him to be part of the process. And whether the case was won or not had nothing to do with him. It had to do with the vibration of the parties involved. He just played his role in it, right? And if he could play his role confidently in it, he would be inspired to say and do things at the right time, to bring up the right points and the right information that the parties needed at the time they needed them. Wow. So Kate is introduced to a client, and she understands that she is the individual that is there, the perfect person for the client at this time. Right. And so if she feels this level of confidence that she is the only one who can provide what the client needs. Now, the client may need to lose all their money, or the client may need to gain a 5% return on the money, or the client may need to make $1 million. It's not up to Kate. Okay. Kate can be inspired to provide the information that the person needs at the time they need it. And if she can maintain this ecstatic level of satisfaction with what she's doing, the way she does when she's exercising, then she allows the thoughts to come. And then the thoughts will be, look over here, do this, call them and tell them about this, send them an email, forward them an article, that sort of thing. Right? All in fun. All in, I wonder what's going to happen here. Not in, I hope that this makes them $1 million. Because I'm attached to the outcome of this commission or the outcome of them making money or the outcome of things going well. You don't know what's going well, right? You don't know if saving a person money is a good thing or a bad thing in their case. You just assume that them making money is a good thing and them losing money is a bad thing. But you have no idea. You can't know. Your perspective is limited, right? All you can know is that the universe picked you. And why did the universe pick you? The universe picked you because you have the ability to be aligned with who you really are. You have the ability to know more about what's happening in physical reality. You know why you're there, that sort of thing. And then if you can always go forward in that kind of confidence, then you will always be inspired to do whatever needs to be done at the time it needs to be done. So think of yourself as a tool of the universe to facilitate the manifestations of other people, because you will always receive what you need in that process as well.
That's it. That's what I was going to say, is that I'm coming more and more to this place of faith, which I really appreciate, which is it's happening for me. Whatever's happening, it's happening for me. So I might be a cog, I might be bringing people together, but there's something in it for me. And I don't know what it is, but it's for me. So just go with it because it's going to be good.
Good. Exactly right. And that's hard to grasp because everyone has a judgment of what's good and what's right and what's wrong and what's bad. And that's the old approach to life. And the new approach to life is finding a way to understand that everything is always working out for everyone. And if it seems like it's not working out, it's just a problem with the perspective. And the perspective is a little lower than it should be. Now, putting this into practice is a whole different story.
Yeah.
And as you put it into practice, you grow and you expand.
Wow. Okay. That was amazing. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Who else has something to offer the group?
Where would that leave me with my translations? Because I have to produce a text. I understand my vibration and I attract the text I have to translate, even though I bicker with my colleague who does what text or who starts and who ends. So how does that work out?
Okay. So again, you are the cog in the transaction. Mm-hmm. The transaction is that you receive a text in one language and you have to translate it into another language. Mm-hmm. You aren't really doing anything. You are receiving thought and you are writing down your thoughts. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now you are a unique individual and you are as worthy as anyone else who could do what you're doing, except that it came to you. So you are the perfect person. And if it comes to your colleague, he's the perfect person. And if it comes to both of you, mm-hmm. then you will get what you need out of it and he will get what he needed out of it. So in that instance, when you both translated the same article, what was the result of that?
Everybody's happy all the time.
So what happened was, which is an interesting manifestation event, is that you received an article, you were going to work on it together, you started it, and then he said, well, he thought there were things wrong with it, and you thought you were going to work on it together, and what happened was you did your version, he did his version. You sent them both in, and then you received feedback that you were worthy of what you did.
Yeah. Right? The lawyer was very pleased, yes.
Even though you thought that you needed to work with him just to make sure that you were doing it right.
I'm very, very, very insecure.
And the universe just provided you with an unbelievable manifestation event that proved your worthiness beyond a shadow of a doubt. So from this point on, you never have to doubt yourself.
Well, wow. I wish that were true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wouldn't it be nice if that was true? But it is evidence, true. Isn't it? Yeah, it is evident. Now, if you are working from a position of insecurity, not sure if you're doing a good job or not, then the words that you receive aren't going to be the highest and most clear and concise words that you could receive because there's a little resistance there. And there has to be resistance there. Do you know why there has to be resistance?
No. Because
you feel unworthy. So could you translate the most elegant and beautiful translation in the history of the world if you felt fear? You could only produce what you were a match to because the universe is showing you a perfect reflection of what you are feeling. And if you feel a little bit insecure, then you're going to have a couple words off that prove that you should be insecure. Mm-hmm. If you felt absolutely as if you were the most inspired, important, knowledgeable translator in the history of all humanity, then all you could receive is the most elegant translation possible because you aren't creating these words, you are receiving them. Okay. You aren't creating these phrases, you are receiving them. You aren't creating the understanding of the intent of the writer, you are receiving the intent of the writer.
Why do I have the feeling that I have to make it up? I have to think.
Because you were never told that you access thoughts. You were always told that you produce thoughts.
Yeah. So everything I think, none of it are my thoughts?
Okay. Think of a volcano.
Okay.
Everyone picture a volcano.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Where did that thought come from? Have you seen a volcano?
Not in real life.
Have you seen the exact volcano you're thinking of now?
No.
Think of a butterfly. Right? You are accessing the thought of a butterfly from, we will say, the cloud. Okay? You are not manufacturing a thought of the butterfly. You're not drawing the butterfly out and putting all the little black marks in the butterfly and the colors in the butterfly and the antenna and the feet and all the stuff on the butterfly. You are just quickly accessing a thought of any butterfly, any random butterfly, right? Mm-hmm. All the thoughts come to you. Have you ever felt really good and inspired and enthused and was having a conversation and then all the words just came to you?
Yes. Yeah, but then I didn't have to think about it.
Don't have to think about it. They just come to you.
Yeah.
Right? And have you ever felt nervous and shy and afraid of what to say and then no words can come to you?
Yes.
So all you're doing is either feeling good or not, and the words are coming to you based on how you feel. So as we were saying last time, all you have to do is engage the power of the universe, just as Gary's engaging it right now. And he doesn't have a lot of ums and ahs and things, except for he's trying to translate the thoughts into words as best as he can. And you can see that the more engaged he is, the more focused he is, the easier it is for the words to flow through him. But if you were talking to him, or if you listened to him on the Joshua Roundtable, it's a different flow, isn't it? Even though he's engaged, it's at a different level. Right. And if he was talking to, say, someone he was nervous around, it would be a completely different flow. And if you were talking to him when he was playing poker and he was really engaged and he knew the people, he would remember everyone's names. He would remember every hand they ever had. He knows exactly what happens at all times because he has the power of the universe flowing through him because he's engaged and because it's his passion.
Yeah.
So you can do that at any time. And so your doubt limits this engagement, and your confidence opens up the floodgates so that everything you need comes to you when you need it.
Okay.
So imagine now you go to work, you spend a little time meditating. You say to yourself, I am thrilled to be here. I am ecstatic in what I do. I am perfectly competent in everything I do. I know that I happen to be the perfect translator for this firm at this time. There's no one on earth who is more prepared to do this. I welcome all my million to be with me, my guidance supporters. Let's get this first one going. And then you'll start sitting down and you'll tap out on your keyboard and the perfect words will flow without you even thinking about a thing. And then you'll be done with that. You won't second guess it. You'll send it off and you'll be ready for the next one.
Oh, that would be great.
Come on more, come on more, come on more. When Gary gets a question, he sits down, he engages us, he types out the thoughts that we give him, he goes back and edits it because he's typing so fast that there's a lot of typos. He fixes the typos, he's reading while he fixes, and he sends it off, and it's gone. And then he goes on to the next one. He doesn't worry about, oh, I hope it doesn't offend them, I hope they understand it, I hope there wasn't any mistakes as far as editing goes, things like that. He knows that he's the perfect person to answer that question for that person at the time because he's engaged us and he has full faith that we are giving him the thoughts that will work with that person, even though he has no idea who that person is. Even when people write in French. Into Google Translate, he gets the gist of what the person's talking about. He types it out, translates it back into French, and sends it off, and he doesn't care. And invariably, you can read hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people writing back to say, that really helped. That was what I needed. That was the best thing that I got. It changed my complete perspective. And none of this, you don't know what you're talking about. That was wrong, sort of thing, right? Isn't that interesting? Thousands of questions, and we will say one person who was displeased.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Tomorrow is another day to start.
Every day is another day. Every day you can engage the universe. You can remember how this all works. You can think about it, or you can forget and get fooled by the illusion once again. Every day is a new day. Every day you get to start over and you get to test what you know and you get to move forward and you get new manifestation events and you get to the next step and you get to the next challenge and you get to reframe it again and you get to think a more empowering thought every day, every single day. Every day as long as you live, every day in the non-physical, every day back in physical, every day. You are never done. So enjoy the journey. Are you having fun?
Yeah, I'm having fun. Yes.
Yes. More and more. Yeah.
And I'm doing better. I feel I'm doing better.
That's very good. Very quick.
Yeah.
Yep. Excellent.
Thank you.
How's it down under, Emma?
Oh, it's all right. Still early morning. Haven't fully woken up yet, but good.
Yes.
I wanted to ask today about the balance between noticing your reality and ignoring it at the same time. So
we would never want you to ignore your perception of your reality. You're here because it's fun. We never want to fully pull back the curtain and remove the illusion. The illusion is the fun part.
Yeah. I know that it's all a reflection of my vibration, so I should want to notice it to know what I'm vibrating and where I can fix that up.
99.999% of what your reality is reflecting back to you is wonderful.
Yeah. But then at the same time...
Yeah, question mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, doubt.
Not dwell on what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
You got to focus, put all your attention on what you do want.
Well,
so
you know what you really want.
Yes.
If we gave you a book of 100 blank pages and you could write out all that you wanted, would you be able to accurately describe it?
Probably not in a detail.
Yeah, or could you write down 1 page of things you think you want? What's more likely?
1 page.
Right. So you think you want certain things. Well, your vibration contains the most minute detail of what you truly want. For instance, when Steve wanted a new motorcycle, he also wanted it to be a certain color, a certain engine, a certain price. He wanted his family to be okay with the purchase. He wanted it to be comfortable so that his wife could go on the back of the motorcycle with him. He also wanted to be able to afford to take trips with his family or trips with the guys. He wanted a million different things. He could have gone out and bought the motorcycle at any time. But what he did was he lined up with all the things that he wanted. And when the timing was right, he found the motorcycle at the right price, at the right time, where everything manifested elegantly. You can go out and get what you want, but what you really want is everything to line up perfectly. And in order to do that, you have to move into the vibrational vicinity of that which you want by altering your vibration, and that may take a little time. As Joshua, we don't know if you have gotten to read our answer to you today for your last question. So in that answer, it was, you do not want what you think you want today, because you will attract from the vibration that you're emitting today. And the vibration you'll be emitting in 3 weeks or 3 months is completely different than what you're emitting now. And you want to attract based on that, because what you truly want is at a higher vibrational level than you are now. And so your work right now is to move your vibration higher. And as you move your vibration higher by but reducing the intensity of some of the limiting beliefs that you have and feeling more confident and getting more of the nuances of what you really want out there, you will then be ready for what you truly want when it comes. All right. We'll use an example of Gary. Gary was single. He had been dating girls for a long time, a certain type of girl that he would describe as crazy, and that he had one crazy relationship after another. And so he realized, this is way before he met us, way before he knew anything about any of this, he realized that there was something that he was attracting that was not working. And so he said, I'm going to take 6 months off and I'm not going to date anyone. And at the end of the 6 months, magically, he came into a situation that prompted him to ask Lily out on a date. And this was a complete orchestration of events that no one could have ever planned. And he had known Lily for months and months and months before that, but had never even seen her, never even looked at her that way, right? Thought she was completely not his type or out of his league or whatever. And she had seen him for months and months and months and never once thought about him the same way. But on this one magical moment, their vibrations, both of their vibrations came into alignment. She had vibrational work to do the previous 6 months. He had vibrational work to do. And at this one magical moment, something happened and they noticed each other, right? Something incredible. And once that happened, there was a little tiny resistance in the beginning, but after the first date. It was from then on. None of them would have ever expected that that could happen. None of them would ever have put that on their list of goals. None of them had even wanted that, right? It wasn't even something they wanted. It just happened. And had they had written down what they wanted, it would not have been that. It would have been something different that they thought they wanted, and what they got was something completely different. Gary's previous girlfriend was 10 years younger than him, and Lily is 8 years older than him. He never thought that would ever happen. And Gary was never the kind of person that Lily thought that she would ever be interested in. And then here they are, 20 years later, in wedded bliss.
Well, I just have to say, don't tell Gary, but it doesn't look like Lily is older than him.
No.
I've seen photos.
Yes, that is a side effect that worked out pretty well. Side effect of Lily's
life. It brings
life.
up an impatient feeling in me, and I think I have to wait till I reach the next vibrational level, because like my vibration is always going to be raising, and there's always going to be a higher level that I can reach. It's like, when does it ever end?
Well, imagine that you were like Gary. You went through life, you sifted and sorted, you realized that your approach to life had not been working. You didn't really know what you wanted. And so you said, I'm going to take time to vibrationally get my stuff in order, right? Get my ducks in a row. And so he takes this time off to think about what he wants. And during this time, his vibration is rising. Lily's vibration is rising at the same time. And they meet at this point. And from there, they rise together. So they keep rising their vibration, but now they're in harmony with each other, and they rise as a couple to places that they would never have risen to individually. Without Lily, we would never have come, ever. Because Lily is the one who brought us forth in the first place.
Wow.
Yeah. Whew. So be patient. Realize that your vibration is rising to a level where you will intersect. And once that intersection happens, then you can rise together. And sometimes that rising together brings you apart and you go off in your separate ways, and that's okay too. It's not necessarily the happy ending. It's just the union for a while until there's no more union, or if you want to keep the union. It all depends on the desire. But the idea that that has to be coming, that you're missing something from it not being here, is the only thing that's making you not enjoy this time that you have alone. Because it will come. It's just a matter of you raising your vibration and getting to that level. And you're doing this work now. And this work now that you're doing with us is a intensely vibration raising kind of thing that other people just aren't doing. Few other people are doing, we would say. It is more intense than just reading or whatever. So you can notice that you have lack if you like, or you can have the perspective that you are in this preparation for what you truly want. And what you truly want is something that you can't even imagine, because from your perspective, it is so far higher than what you think that you could even come up with right now. So those are your two choices. I don't have what I want, or I am in the process of creating what I want. Because by raising your vibration, you are creating what you want. It is a process of taking this idea in your head and making it into physical reality. And it takes time. If you were pregnant, you wouldn't want to have the baby in 4 months. You'd want to wait 9 months, right? You wouldn't say, come on, let's go. Let's get this thing done. I got things to do. You're like, happen when it happens at the exact right time. You don't want it to happen a minute later or a minute sooner. When it happens, it'll be the exact right time. And then you will look back and you'll say, thank God that I didn't just go off on my own and try and make something happen, that I allowed myself the time to raise my vibration so that I was ready for it when it came.
All right.
You'll take that for now? Excellent. Good. And Astrid, how are you?
I'm good. I'm doing exactly what you said we shouldn't do. I'm just staying at home and enjoying a lot less manifestation events, and whatever is happening, it's a lot more subtle. So I don't have to have a major meltdown. I can have a small meltdown and think about it. And I also noticed, because this process it's just so satisfying. Every time I work through or I lessen my fear of something, either it's during that process that I'll find some new, very exciting information, or it's straight afterwards. And just, I mean, the whole meltdown, everything is worth it as long as I get that, because it's so exciting when I find new information. And it's a pattern now. And it repeats itself constantly. And it's so much fun.
Well, the meltdown for you is more intense than for many people. The meltdown for all of you, actually, because you are all emotional people. And without intense emotions, you wouldn't have risen to the vibrational level of meeting us. So part of this journey is coming into physical reality with high emotional states of being. But for Astrid in particular, the meltdowns are intense. And for you to be able to recover from meltdowns quicker and quicker and quicker will allow you to test the waters more and to step outside your comfort zone a little bit more. Because the meltdown is just a perspective that is lower than it could be. And then when you start seeing things from the higher perspective, and just like you're doing now, is understanding that you are receiving this incredible benefit from every manifestation event, and then learning to view it in an empowering way, just as you did with this idea of rejection, you can gain more and more confidence and more ability to really frame every event that happens in a positive way and see how it's positive for you. So this rejection idea was unbelievable turning point, we think.
But I also noticed that I seem to have less and less desires. I just don't care as much. And I'm wondering, is that supposed to be like that? I don't have any strong desires. It's just everything's fine.
You don't think you have strong desires because you can't identify them. And so what's happening is you're being led to these areas where you would never go before. And you are allowing yourself to do things that bring up fear, even when the desire isn't that strong. But the fear could be a lot stronger. And that is true creation. So when you were asked to be on the podcast and you initially didn't want to do it because you had no desire to do it, then you pushed through that fear, even though the desire was little, and you moved forward in a really strong way. And then doing the round table is the same thing. And then everything else that you're doing, going on the cruise and being part of the Facebook group and all these things are moving you closer and closer and closer to where you want to be, even though you didn't know you wanted to be there. And once you get there, you will say, how did I get here? And this is really where I want to be. You will understand it at some point. And you can see that that's happening now. It is obvious to everyone else going on around you too.
But it's just weird because it's like I don't even have the same. Okay, so let's say before this, or at least a few months ago, my good emotions were really, really intense, like peaks. And now the good emotions are more like a wave, or it's more just like fluffy cotton. It's more like a wider, rounder feeling instead of this intense, peaky feeling. So I feel like my emotions are more level. I don't have the high highs or the low lows. And it's not, I don't know, am I supposed to be like this?
Yes, because you're understanding life from a new perspective. Right. So when in the past, we will say that your emotional range looked like a heartbeat, right?
Yeah.
Jag it up, jag it down, jag it up, jag it down, jag it up, jag it down.
Yes.
Instead of a wave, which is up and down, up and down, up and down, right? And you're supposed to be on the wave where the waves are higher and they're a little low, and a little higher and a little low. But compared to the low, they don't feel as high. And compared to the high, they don't feel as low. So it's a perceptive thing. It's all how you perceive these emotions now, because they're not jaggedly up and down, right?
Yeah.
They're like this.
Yeah.
And so from here to here, over that time that takes, doesn't feel that traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll be more like this, as you go higher and higher and higher. And as you do that, you are more of an allower. And then these things naturally just happen in your life that you could never plan for ever.
But I also notice, because it feels like to me that there's a lot of stuff going on inside. All this new information, and even though I don't go out as much as I should probably, I feel like I'm handling stuff better. But I don't. Still, that shouldn't I see an outside change? I don't know what that change would be. I keep looking for confirmation outside of me that to prove that I have changed.
Right. So we will say that you're being here in this conversation with these people, talking about the things you're talking about in this call, as a leader of the round table, as going on a cruise, as talking to people independently. All of that stuff is the outer change. That is the change in your reality. Even though you're looking at a screen on a computer, this is your reality. It may not be you have a new couch. It may be that you have these new interests, these new contacts, these new relationships with people.
Okay.
That is the change from what it was like a year ago to what it's like now. And then can you imagine a year from now? That sort of thing. So things from our perspective are changing incredibly, inside and outside. Just the change in how you enjoyed your trip to London with your mother.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That's a huge change, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kyla, do you have anything to offer?
One thing that's come up for me is feeling like there are people in my life who want my attention. And I think I talked about this last week, but I just have a couple of friends who the story that I'm making up about them and the story that their text is telling me is that they want more of my attention than I've been giving them. And so I find myself feeling guilty because I haven't reached out or shared my life with them like they want me to.
Well, this is what happens to all superstars. Imagine all of Lady Gaga's friends from high school. When you're a superstar, you have things that you're interested in, and you just have time for whatever you have time for. Yep. And so get ready for more of that.
Okay.
Yep. So you focus on what you're interested in.
Okay.
So you can connect with people through Facebook. You can connect for people when you're inspired to. You can make little phone calls. You can make little texts. You can maybe go to lunch here and there. But people are going to want more of you because you are a superstar. All of you are. And people are going to want more and more and more of you. And you're going to have to figure that out.
Right.
Can I just add something here, though? Because Wendy and I have been trying to chat so many times, at least 3 or 4 times. And each time, the day we're supposed to chat, for some reason, I don't want to. But I'm afraid to say no. But for some reason, something has always come up, so we couldn't chat. And today it was the same. We intend to talk together. And then I don't really want to, but I don't want to say no. And then something came up for her, so she couldn't do it either. And we both realized that we don't really want to talk together. So, but like, I didn't want to disappoint her, and she probably felt bad for saying no to me. So I don't know, this might not be the case, but sometimes even though you made an appointment, maybe these people don't always want to talk to you just because they asked you. You don't have to feel bad every time.
Yep. Yeah. And maybe they want to talk to you about something that has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It's something that they're thinking about, and they think you're the solution to that or that. But you're talking to each other in your dreams anyway, and non-physically anyway. So a lot of this communication, this togetherness, you're all in this together with all the people that you know, and most of your communication is happening in the non-physical. So
Wow.
The physical part can just be for fun when it's fun for everyone.
Wow.
You can't lose anyone. You can't. Gary was lucky in that he, as a kid, moved around a lot. So he was able to make friends easily and to let friends go easily. And so for him, people can come and go easily without him having these strong attachments because that's what's natural for him. But that's truly what's natural in physical reality. This idea that you have to bond with someone for life doesn't make any sense because you're here to interact for the time that you're a vibrational match. And then when you're non-physical again, then you can see how your roles played together and how you both moved each other to a different vibration. But this idea that you have to be attached to people is just a little limiting at certain times. And it's not that necessary. Yeah.
Do we also talk to...
Do you also talk to who?
No, in our dreams, do we also talk to people that we don't talk to in the physical? Like, do we talk to people that we're not friends with, or that we're not comfortable with talking to in the physical?
You generally talk to those that you know or have known in the physical, and with those who are in the non-physical, watching you, supporting you, guiding you, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yep. And when the dream is downloaded to you as you wake up, and what you can remember of it is just you trying to make some physical sense of it, but pay more attention to the feeling of the dream or even if there was a message in the dream, sometimes there's that. But generally it's just this working out of this stuff that's going on in your life during that one day, or maybe during a series of days.
So if somebody's having a lot of stress dreams, all types of different dreams, but they all feel stressful, what is that?
It means that they're engaged in too much stress, that they need to relax, that they need to lessen their load, that they need to think about things in a different way. There is no need for stress in this reality, that you can live a stress-free life, and that all stress is self-imposed. So you are just thinking things are more important than they are. And you are doing things because you are worried that if you don't do them, there'll be negative ramifications, and that's causing you stress. But it's all completely self-created. There is no stress because you are the center of your universe. It makes no sense, right? Mm-hmm. Why would you come here, be the center of your universe? Why would you go to Disneyland and be worried that you're not going to get on the ride in time? That sort of thing. When all the rides are there for you. And there is no waiting. It's just this perception that things could go wrong that causes you stress. And nothing ever really goes wrong. So stressful dreams mean that you're probably thinking about things in a stressful way. Happy, free, floaty, fun dreams means that your perspective is right on track with what you want. How many people have fun, easy, free, floaty, enjoyable dreams? So there's a little work there.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Exactly.
I've never had that.
Sometimes it's fun to wake up and go, oh, that didn't really happen. Thank God.
Yeah.
My life is so good. Yeah, it's all perspective. Excellent. Well, is there anything else anyone would like to talk about?
Are there billions and billions of beings, and do the same beings continually come back into physical form?
Yes,
and are there
lima
different
beans. There's all kinds of
beings?
Jelly beans. There's billions of beans. Beings. There's trillions of beings in your body right now.
Really?
Trillions. Every cell in your body is a being. Every cell in your body is living life, living physical reality, coming and going.
So are you always a cell being versus a human, like a composite being, or you always a dog being? Do you switch around?
Well, imagine that there's this playground, right? And the first time you come into it, it's very dense and different than non-physical reality. It's physical reality. It's physical. And you feel things, and you have certain aspects to this physical reality that don't exist in non-physical. So you probably would come in, do you think, as a single-celled organism or as a fully developed human? Which would be easier?
Single
cell.
Right.
Yeah.
So once you've done cells enough, then what do you go on to the next one?
Two cells.
Two cells. And then one day you become a sperm. And then one day you become an egg. And one day you become a beetle. And then maybe you're done with beetles and insects and you become a snake. And then you try something else. And then one day you become a dolphin. And then one day you become a human. And then one day you become a dog when you really reach the top.
I believe that.
Yep. And when you're done being dog, then you just go on to nirvana. There's nothing better than being a dog.
Do we move on to other planets after we're done here?
Like what other planet?
I don't know, like aliens.
Aliens? There's aliens?
Shut up.
I told you about aliens.
Don't bullshit me.
We're aliens.
Yeah.
I told you they'd say they were aliens.
Yeah.
You are aliens.
Yeah.
It's on this planet. You can do, be, and have whatever you want. So if you are interested in another planet, then maybe you go to another planet. If you're interested in another dimension, maybe you choose another dimension. It is all up to you. There are no levels. It's just different. Yep. You never graduate. You just keep experiencing source. So in this reality, we all look back at source. And you're in physical reality, and you're living this life, but this life gives you a perspective on reality, which is looking back at source. And in non-physical, we look back at source. And we can do it from this time at this place, or another time in another place, or however we want to do it. But right now, we are all interested in life on planet Earth.
Because it's the best show in town.
Yeah, this is the #1 show on HBO. Like Westworld.
Interesting. And I'm guessing we really can't in our physical form comprehend all of that.
That's because you're still robots. You think you're human.
That's Westworld.
We didn't mean to give anything away. Spoiler alert.
Wow.
We are teaching you that you are non-physical beings in a physical reality. So we are like the creator letting the robots know that they're robots, yet they're able to do whatever, they're able to be human. If that makes any sense.
Excuse me, I am not a robot. I am pure love and light.
You are a spiritual being, a limitless being of pure positive love and acceptance. You are pure love and light, and you are figuring out how to be pure love and light in a physical environment with this illusion that you're not pure love and light. Isn't that fun?
It is fun.
Yeah, it is fun. So whether you know that you are a limitless being living as a spiritual being of love and acceptance in a physical reality or not, you're still expanding and experiencing life either way. So what we asked at the beginning was, what do you like about this interaction? How does this interaction do anything for you? Would you be better off knowing us or not knowing us?
I like to think we're better off.
Okay, so you're better off. We'll agree with that. Why would you be better off? Why is it better to know how the universe works and know these laws, know how physical reality is formed, know why you're here? Why is that better than not knowing?
Because there's a level of learning to go with the flow and allowing, which is fabulous.
And when you become an allower, why is that good?
Because there's expansion.
Well, there's expansion either way.
Either way.
Right? But why is allowing? Why would anyone think allowing was good?
Because it feels good.
Yeah, it feels
because
good.
it feels good, and the only thing that matters is how you feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we can make you feel good in a positive, empowering way that actually helps you, and that you can enjoy this life in physical reality as you intended to come here and expand in joy. All we're doing is making sure you're paying attention to the joy part. You're going to expand either way. You can expand in pain or in joy. We are here to remind you that you came to expand in joy, and we're trying to get you to focus on the joy part of this whole journey.
It's working.
Well, that's awesome. Good. Then we won't have to get refunds.
No, not yet.
Good. So with that, we think that it is 3:33. And we complete.
Thank you. Wow.
All right.
That was awesome.
I'm exhausted.
I'm exhausted. I'm sweating.
Wow.
So how did I sound with my new machine?
Sounds good.
Any better?
Very clear.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Like a radio show.
And it didn't
Oh, wow.
slurp when you took a drink, or when they took a drink.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of times
When
it's
someone
makes-
took a drink.
Want to take a drink?
Kyla did an hour before that. too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Was it fun?
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun because, it's just like anything you'd be doing that you were totally engaged in and completely focused. If you ever do stuff like poker like this for me is you're so focused you can't think of anything else. And that's like the state of when this energy's flowing and I have my hairs are standing up and goosebumps and everything just seems to be flowing. That's the feeling, which is an awesome feeling, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Tiring. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So are you guys going to do a Facebook or a
Facebook
friends call?
Yeah.
How do
What are
we
you gonna talk
do that? I saw the link. We just click on that link, Kyla?
I might just take you to information, like you just call that number that I posted, and then it'll be like an automated thing, and it'll ask you to enter a call ID, and then that will just add you into the call. And then
So you posted all that on Facebook. It's not in the email.
what showed up in the email? Because the email thing that I found was just sharing the call from the call
Yeah, I
page.
guess what happens if I click on this? Takes me to the page.
It just takes you to the page, probably. It just shows you the link. So then the phone number and the call ID are on there.
Okay, on the call on IDs on Facebook.
It's on the Facebook, and it's also on TalkShoe, like where that link should probably take you.
Missed the live call. Don't worry, Liz. Okay, I guess it has to be close to the live call time. All right, well, we'll figure it out, the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys have fun.
All right.
Thanks, Gary.
You too.
Okay.
Thanks.
See you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Joshua Live. If you have a question you would like Joshua to answer on the show, send us a message on Facebook at www.facebook.com/teachingsofjoshua. As always, remember that you are loved more than you can imagine by more than you could ever count. We'll see you next time.